Welcome to Discovering Grayslake, a podcast dedicated to the stories and people that make our town truly unique. Join us as we sit down with local business owners, community leaders, and everyday residents to hear their tales of triumph, struggle, and everything in between. From the little-known historical gems to current events shaping our community, we'll cover it, all in an engaging and informative way. I'm your host, David Woll, and together we'll discover the heart and soul of our town, one story at a time. Today's podcast is brought to you by the lovely folks at Keller Williams North Shore West at the Sinkmars Group. Motivated not by numbers, but by helping you feel at home in our community. Jody Sinkmars and her team are committed to serving Grayslake and its neighbors with the utmost care. Call Jody today at 847-767-7358 or visit the Sinkmars Group online at sinkmarsgroup.com to get started on the path for the home you love right now. This podcast is also brought to you by the Cashmore Financial Group. Financial advice for everyday people. Turn your financial stress into financial success. Call us today, 847-231-6150. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Discovering Grayslake. Just a few days ago, I sat down and did an interview with my buddy Steve from Valen Studios right at 123 Center Street. And Steve made me come back because he wanted to do a do-over, he says, but I feel like I'm being set up.
That is absolutely true. I don't know how many people actually know you, Dave, but out of all the
real me,
right, yeah, out of all the people I actually know, which is literally hundreds of thousands of people. Okay, I am the number one knowing of people person in Grayslake.
All right.
So, having said that, you are incredibly fascinating.
Thank you.
Yes, as one of my best friends, you and I have never had nothing to talk about. And I want people to know more about you.
All right.
So a
little role reversal here?
A little role reversal, yeah. So
Not role play, but role reversal, yeah.
The bomb I want to drop on you. I think people need to get to know you a little bit more. The man behind the microphone.
I'm down.
So this is my first time actually doing this as an interview style, and I consider myself a conversationalist, so I'm going to do the best I can.
All right. Hit me.
David.
What do you got?
How did you get started?
Started with what?
Oh, dang. Okay. Terrible question. Terrible opening question.
Well, you see, my mom and dad fell in love with each other.
Yeah, exactly. How were you born?
Okay. So I'll give you a little backstory on me. So I lived in Grayslake my entire life. My mom was born and raised here. My grandfather, as far as I know, helped build St. Gilbert's Church. So my mom grew up here. I went off to college, graduated from Northwestern, came back. They met my dad somehow through some mutual friends. Actually, both of the couples, they got married to each other, actually, both local as well. My dad was a teacher. So my dad taught in Barrington, but they settled here in Grayslake, and I was actually born here and raised here along with my mom. So I'm a lifer. The only time I've left Grayslake is to go to college for 6 years, and I'm still not a doctor.
Yeah, they're called doctors.
Right.
So you have a very similar story. My mother gave me a gift that changed my life.
Yeah.
What was this gift that your mother gave you that changed your life?
Well, I went to school for broadcasting. I wanted to be on the radio.
Too bad your voice is terrible.
I know. I got the face for radio. So went to college for broadcasting. Actually met a professor there who was DJing weddings, and he said, "Hey, dude, you have the personality. You should come along with me and check out this wedding I'm doing." So I go with one of my professors, a really cool dude. He was a really cool dude until I got to the wedding and saw him perform. The dorkiest thing I've ever seen in my life. And he said if I wanted to be a DJ, I needed to have something for the front of my DJ booth, like a 57 Chevy grill or something like this. And the songs he played and on the microphone, I was, as kids would say now, it was cringy. And I was like, oh my God, if this guy can do this and he thinks I can do this, I need to start a DJ business. So I'm in college, call my mom, just like me. Like I have to decide, boom, like I'm done. I'm going with this. Mom, I need a set of DJ equipment. And my mother was wonderful. God rest her soul. But she was like, she believed in everything I wanted to do. So they actually sent me the money. I don't even know how we did it in those days. Like, was it federal, Western Union or whatever? So I went and bought a really crappy, which I thought were cool, set of speakers. We had our turntables. We had everything. Sat down one night. So she gave me the tools to start a DJ company. So that night, We were playing music really loud the first night I got it. Security guard comes over, tells us to turn the music down, and then he says, "Hey, are you a DJ?" Well, the guy that was running the school, I don't know what the exact name of it, well, he needed a DJ for his daughter's party for graduating college or something like that. But he had a DUI. So this guy also, besides a security guard, was a taxi cab driver. So he said, if you have a business card, I can get you a DJ gig. So me and my friend, Greg Queetons, we went to the store, got a case of Busch Light Draft, sat down, and decided we'd make up a name for the DJ company there. Had business cards made in a rush thing, which was 2 weeks at that time to get business cards made. Gave one to the security guard / cab driver, and he gave it to the guy that ran the school, and we got our first DJ gig. So my mom was fully supportive of it, whatever. And so after that, came home, and I was actually making trips home from college, then my great business mind, to meet with like bridal studios and everything, because apparently weddings is where you made money at. But I was DJing frat parties and all kinds of fun stuff. Basically, we were just getting drunk and playing music and thought it was fun. And I said, hey, can we turn this into a business? So that's a short form story for you.
That's awesome. You also had a similar story with me that someone like hurt your feelings a little bit about
oh my God,
being a DJ.
I was engaged to this girl at the time, and she wanted me to move to Arizona with her. And she looked at my DJ stuff and everything, and she told me, and she laughed at me and said, you really think you're going to make a living playing music? I can't use the words on here that I told her, but basically I called off the engagement, used that as fuel to come home. I had my first DJ gig set up before I even graduated college and came home.
Yeah.
And within 2 years after that, we were running 2 or 3 units doing weddings.
Right. And at your peak, which was, you were at a peak for quite a while, you were doing 250 to 300 weddings a year.
Yeah, in the year 2000, we did 343 weddings with 10 guys. I did 100 weddings that year. Our other buddy, Nick DeRichard, was his nickname. He did 99 because I stole the last one from him because I wanted to be the guy that did 100 events that year. So it was cool. Yeah, we were running it like crazy, and I don't even know how many thousands of weddings we did, but anybody listening to this, I guarantee there's at least 3 people listening to this right now from Grayslake that I did their wedding.
Right.
And some of the best times of my life. And it was memory makers, and we made a lot of memories, actually. And to be fair about it, probably more memories for me than for them, but it was great to be part of their lives.
The biggest thing I remember about memory makers was that black bus.
Oh, my God.
Humongous party. Here we go. Tell me, how, why, what? Who does that?
Let me tell you this. It's called day drinking, Steve. So I was with this Nick DeRichard. We were at a church event, and we were DJing and hanging around. They had a little school bus there. It was like for crafts, and they were doing crafts in there. And so Nick looked at me and he said something to me like, "Hey man, we should have one of those buses and put it in parades." I'm like, so we made some bet. I still to this day do not remember what the bet was, but I lost it. And the next morning we drove. We were on the interwebs, and we drove to Kankakee, and I bought a 40-foot. 60 or 80 passenger school bus. We took it, we stripped everything out, painted it black, and maybe hopefully somebody on here remembers that we brought it in parades. And we handed out fly swatters. Random fact about the school bus, we got kicked out of the Antioch parade because we're dancing on top of the bus, but the music was so loud that the announcer was yelling at us that we just kept going, and we're chucking candy at people, and you can't do that these days. You know, after COVID, people could get COVID for getting hit in the head with a dum-dum or something. So they told us we couldn't do it because the top wasn't enclosed. So there was once again, there was some beverages involved. So on the way home from the parade, we stopped at Home Depot, bought the stuff to make an enclosure on top that was foldable down, and so we could have, and had beer holders on top as well. And then we could fold the cage up and fold the cage down. And I'm very fortunate in my life to have a lot of guys that supported me in doing dumb shit. So I was full of support. But the bus was fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully somebody's seen the bus.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you paid for the bus? Just a fun
Yes. They wanted $1,300 for it, and this young kid that gave me a test drive, he goes, "Hey, dude, you bring cash?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Offer these M&F for $800." So I walk back in at $800. Tax, title, license. Get in a 40-foot? It's a 40-foot school bus.
It's the big one.
I drove it home from Kankakee. Never driven a bus before. Didn't know if the damn thing ran. The brakes were weird. Everything was weird. Drove it home from Kankakee in rush hour traffic. Yeah. $800. And then I put about $8,000 back into it to repair it over the years too.
Yeah.
But yeah, broke a brake line at the Mundelein parade. Instead of hitting the Cub Scouts, had to run it into a curb because it wouldn't stop. You know.
Oh my God.
There's more stories about that bus. Yeah, we used it as a camper and whatever, but the bus was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another. I'm not sure my mother supported that. Well, she probably did. She rode on the bus a little bit. Yeah.
Of course she did. Yeah. So with the DJ business, because you were doing very well and you were incredibly innovative, that's roughly at some point that's when I met you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I admired you and because of your success. And I made the mistake of, I'm assuming I at this point made a mistake of saying, "Hey Dave, you're successful. How about you help me build my business?" Right? And then you called. I don't think you ever did it, but we have since had many conversations about it, about being a Klingon. Like, you just can't do that as far as a business owner to a business owner. Oh, now that you made it, why don't you take me along? No, you paid a price.
Yeah.
So having said that, you were innovative, and it was always, I admired that. And you took on other aspects of business.
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about another Mother's gift, a Mother's Day gift with Mother's Day coming up. I'm at a wedding. There's a guy that has a photo booth, and we're talking. Let's take this back a little bit. This is like 2000, maybe 2 or something like that. I forget. But the guy came up to me and was stupid enough to brag to me that there was not a photo booth company, and this was going to be a big thing. And he was from Michigan, and they had to drive him in, and he got X amount of dollars, and there's no photo booths in Illinois. I giggle. I go home. I call my mother at 2:00 in the morning and go, "Mom, I need a photo booth. And it's only $10,000. And it was one of those photo booths like you see at the mall, the metal ones that So anyway, it was a great idea. So we got the photo booth. Great. Sold it like gangbusters. Bought another photo booth and then sat back and went, "Oh, crap. We got to move these things." So $20,000 worth of photo booths in. Now I need to go find a lift truck to bring these things around. So anyway, was I one of the first people in Illinois to have a photo booth, and now to diss on everybody else, everybody that brings their backdrops and everything, and they call them photo booths, and there's all this other stuff. It's crap. It's fake. Sorry.
Right.
But yeah, so I'd like to think we innovated a lot of things. We went for it, man.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun with our bride and grooms. We did some different things that and had you at a lot of our DJ showcases things as well. Mm-hmm. That's where we brought bride and grooms in actually to see the different guys that worked with us, because after we had 9 guys, we wanted to show people and put our mouth where our money is, so to say, that we like to do. So we did DJ showcases where bride and grooms actually got to pick the actual individual that would be at their wedding. But man, if things have changed. Now every hack with it thinks they have a computer and whatever, and DJing is about personality. So if you guys are out there looking, I actually don't want to DJ that many weddings anymore, so don't hire me. But make sure you get somebody that you really that you truly like.
Yeah,
those are fun. Those were fun things.
Yeah, I remember when uplights became a thing, when they were no longer halogen and wouldn't set curtains on fire.
Actually, I called my mom for that one too. And I had 3 sets of uplights. I'm like, these things are going to be big. Everybody's going to want them at their things. Now the banquet halls have them there. Yeah. And people are still hiring uplights out. Yeah. But that was another just side, like just being in a business and having the right mind to try to see what was out there, that what is the next best thing going to be? What's fun? And at the same time, it's about making money, like what could we actually provide that actually brought something to the table for people? They can kind of do an all-in-one thing. We never did photo or video or anything like that, but we did playbacks of videos and things like that. But the whole time I'd been in video stuff and things like that. Enough about the DJ thing, man. What else you got?
Okay, well, one of the other things I admire about you is your creativity and your ability to spark an idea. And you and I knew of somebody that they had a business idea, and then they spent 15 to 25 hours just writing up a business plan. And by the time you get done writing the business plan, you kind of like talk yourself out of it, and it's like, forget that. And then you and I, we wake up one morning and an idea comes to us, and you call me and say, "Hey, I'm starting a new business today."
Exactly.
Right. It's like, okay, let's just go. Right. Let's see what sticks. And eventually something sticks. And you called me one time and said, "Hey, I want to take you out to lunch."
I know where you're going with
I think your sweet mother had passed by that time, and you needed another funder. I was kidding. And then you talked about what you're doing now, which I think is just completely awesome. But why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about that lunch?
All right, so Steve and I were down at Emil's, and I had saw some news program or read something on the interwebs about drones, and that they were going to start issuing licenses to use drones for commercial photography. So Steve and I had lunch, decided, looked it up, found the product we wanted, And, of course, that day, a drone was purchased and found a way to apply for the commercial license to shoot legally as with a commercial license. And I'm happy to say I was one of the first 5 to 10 people in the United States that had a commercial license to shoot drone photography, which is fun. And since then,
you've been shooting things illegally ever since then.
I've been shooting things illegally. Which I said, the name of your business, I shoot brides.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't be good.
Right.
So done everything from, have a really cool one of Niagara Falls when I went there. I'm pretty sure some laws were broken, international laws.
They sure were.
But the video was purchased by National Geographic. It's been on the History Channel, all kinds of different things. We did a campaign for the mayor of Niagara Falls. So been cool stuff like that. But a lot of stuff I shot on my own, even Wisconsin Dells. Went off one morning, did a shoot, ended up on like hidden swimming holes, and that too was on National Geographic or Discovery Channel. So
you actually flew a drone inside the Chicago Stadium.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So we did a commercial for Papa John's / working with Benny the Bull. So we worked inside of there. We did one for the White Sox with the mascot there, and that was a thing for Papa John's Pizza, where we moved into a real creative buddy of mine was doing a commercial for them. So every time there was a home run, they played the video on them at the stadium, which used to be U.S. Cellular Field. So worked with the Bulls, worked with a bunch of stuff like that. Sounds really cool. But it was really cool at the time. So we did have a lot of fun doing a lot of drone stuff. But now just do, which led into a lot of other things, from just doing some real estate photography and things like that. So, that brought in a lot of other things that led into some video stuff that have really changed my life as well, some that I can and can't talk about.
What about I know you have what's it called, an addiction.
Oh my God!
Crazy. What do you want to call it? Fetish. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what to call it.
What are we going to talk about?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So for those who are 20 years and younger, you should probably turn this off. But Sasquatch, Bigfoot,
Squatchy.
Tell me about that. You also have not a YouTube. What do you call it? TikTok or something like that.
Oh my God!
You got millions of views.
Yeah.
Because of some asinine thing you do. Talk to me.
Right. So if I was like Bigfoot, I don't know. I mean, I've had shirts that, I started small, Steve. When I was a young man, I had shirts that just said, like, Sasquatch stole my underpants. And then I moved on to other things as my addiction grew. We used to talk about Bigfoot all the time. So I have this very close friend of mine, we'll call her, that we were driving, and I saw this Bigfoot statue on the way, and we were on the way to Eagle River. And I was like, oh, that's cool. She's like, oh, I'll get it for you for your birthday. And I'm like, I don't want to be a dick or anything, but it's like a 3-foot statue. Like I don't know. I mean, like I want to go big or go home. So little to my knowledge that it came closer to my birthday, and they sent me a picture of this 5'9.5" Sasquatch painted. Anybody that's been by my house, it is concrete and weighs 940 pounds, I believe. We had to bring it back on a forklift. I had no idea the thing was made out of concrete. So we had to get a truck, bring it back. I actually have a YouTube video on how we got it back, which was kind of fun. And then got it back and had a buddy, Don DeBello. Anybody knows Don DeBello? It's funny that I had to call him. He actually brought over a bobcat, got it off, put it in my front yard, and there she sits. Pissed off my neighbors. But apparently the ordinance in Grayslake is it has to be 6 foot or smaller. I mean, I've seen dinosaurs in people's front yards around here, right? They got dinosaur statues. So hopefully people embrace the Squatch. And then my son liked TikTok, and then he was bragging about how many views they got. So I bought a Sasquatch suit just because that's kind of stupid crap I do. And made some Sasquatch videos that were fun, some inappropriate, and ended up getting 2.2 million views on my Squatch Master or whatever the TikTok channel is there. Yeah. But I just wanted to get to there. Mm-hmm. But once again, I just wanted to show that I could do it. And then we stopped the TikTok channel. Yeah, on the Squatch thing. And then side note, which we will not go into, but now I have a channel called Don't Be an Asshole, which kind of brings out the highlights of things of people that just kind of piss me off.
This portion of the podcast is brought to you by JDL Consulting. Jordan helps organizations find their voice, but first he listens. Jordan is a certified nonprofit board consultant with 15 years of experience in the nonprofit sector. Thanks, Jordan. So speaking of finding your voice, Thank you again, Jordan, by the way. So maybe now after hearing a little bit of podcast on me, you'll understand my fetish with the Squatch, the Bigfoot. So here's a Squatch Watch, and we're going to do the word of the day. So whatever Squatch says, run over to Instagram, run over to Facebook, be the first person to write the Squatch Watch phrase of the day, and you'll be a winner of our last $25 gift certificate to the Vine. So today's Squatch Watch phrase, that's hard to say, the Squatch Watch phrase is, ain't no party like a Sasquatch party 'cause a Sasquatch party don't stop. Yeah, I want to see you write that one. All right, first one to write it on the Facebook, the Instagram is going to be the winner of a $25 gift certificate to the Vine. Now back to my stupid show.
Yeah, so and I think during that too is when we were shooting videos for Craig Rodsmith on his motorcycle.
Which leads me to like what you're doing now, which is podcasts.
Yeah.
But there was tell me a little bit about that story. Go into a little because we're not here sitting in front of each other.
Right.
Because we decided this last week. You've been working on something with Craig Rodsmith. You put him on the map as an international custom bike builder.
Well, he put himself on the map.
You just videotaped it. Yeah. So I mean, how did that's a thin thread. Yeah. One of those thin threads that we talk about, like all of a sudden you did this one thing which led to 1,000 things.
Oh my God. So Craig and I, we met actually, he helped me fix up my box truck, which I was hauling the photo booths around. We got to be friends and we partook in a lot of beverages as well together. And he would tell me these crazy stories in his Australian accent. And I saw the work that he was doing in his shop, which just blew me away. It was unbelievable. So he was making custom motorcycles and still does to this day in our community. He'd be a great podcast guest, by the way. We might have a lot of beeps in that one, though. So we made these series videos that went from, Craig being the best known secret whatever to now he has 6 or 7 custom motorcycles in one of the biggest custom motorcycle museums in the world. And he's one of the most famous motorcycle builders. So we had fun doing that. But you know what? Every day that we shot videos, every day that we did anything, everything natural, everything is fun. We never had any idea that him getting drunk in the garage and me telling him, we got to make some videos, man. No, I don't want to do that. And actually talking him into it. The only thing I really take credit for is I did talk him into it. And so we just started making them and they blew up. I mean, the YouTube channel, if you look up Rodsmith Motorcycles, if you want a good laugh, check it out, as long as you're sensitive to F-bombs and things like that. But a lot of really cool stuff. And it was something that was way out of my realm of things to do. And then I got to meet a ton of people in the custom motorcycle world and actually helped shoot a documentary movie. I had some hand in that of shooting a documentary movie about Craig and about Bobby Haas, who used to be the owner of Dr. Pepper. So I had some shots in there for that documentary movie. And then had my second podcast, which was
dating.
Well, the first podcast I did was called The Undateable with Dave and Jen. And we went over different dating sites. I was obviously single at the time. So we researched all these, dating sites, and I was on every single site. And then we brought in different guests and we talked about, which sites work, which ones didn't. A lot of inappropriate stuff. Those files do not exist anymore. So if you got to hear those, just keep that to yourself. But that was fun. And then we got so good at learning the dating site that she got a boyfriend and she quit. So she was a lot of fun. Shout out to Jen. She was cool. We actually did a couple live episodes at the Sundance Saloon, did things like that. But after the dating podcast, then I did a motorcycle podcast, knowing Craig and knowing everybody in the industry, called The Pigeonhole, WHOLE. So it was kind of the whole thing. So we interviewed custom motorcycle builders all over the world. When I say we, I mean me. So did almost 100 episodes. We were laughing the other day. Did 97 episodes of The Pigeonhole. Which was cool because I've never ridden a motorcycle. I don't know a handlebar from a orange. So, but that was a lot of fun. I got to know a lot of different people. Podcast was extremely successful. I think we were up to like 15 or 20th in automotive podcasts in the world, from a guy that didn't know shit about motorcycles, but they were just good, fun people and getting their backstories and everything. But when I quit that, it was like left kind of a little hole of stuff that I really like talking to people. I really like interviewing people and getting their stories out, which kind of led to this. And, you and I have kicked around ideas of all kinds of things. shooting in between all that, happened to meet another billionaire, and I just read an audiobook for Mr. Brian Cressy. I can say his name on here. Book's called Be a Winner. So I was hired to do, first of all, do videos to promote his book. These are those threads you talk about, the little things that lead to another. For some reason, he liked me. And actually, funny enough that Mr. Cressy went to Harvard Law School with Bobby Haas, who owned Dr. Pepper, who I shot a movie with also. And that's all the thing that he needed. And we got along extremely well. On a Zoom call with his daughter. His daughter's like, Dave, I really like your voice. You should read my dad's book. So went from being his video guy to reading the audiobook to shooting documentary that I can't talk a lot about, but I'm in process of shooting a documentary about a drug addiction clinic on the west side of Chicago that treats people for free. Also has a food pantry there as well. But this man is giving back so much and has been such an inspiration to me and all the work that I've done. Is hopefully going to make a difference in this world, and just kind of a cool thing, to land in a spot to do all this stuff. So along with that, with being a single father and, 3 kids at home, and doing drone stuff and DJ stuff and podcast stuff and movie stuff, we keep kind of busy. But that's what led us to here.
So our sponsor for the hot seat.
Oh God, not really, really.
Yeah, well, I've heard you say these things. I don't know how to say it. So
am I going to know the answers to all of these, or mine might be just a little bit different? I would probably say.
Yeah, I say you kind of go for it. We do have more of a blue section of questions.
Yeah, you can ask me anything because I know all the I know them all.
So we actually call this part of the podcast the hot seat. And this is brought to us, our friends, by Barbecue Productions, Chris Schoenberger over there in Third Lake. So if you're looking for good barbecue, make sure to see our friends at Barbecue Productions.
All right, Dave, you ready? I'm going to ask you 20 questions. You got about 40 seconds to answer. Whatever comes to mind first. You know the drill.
Yep, unfortunately.
First one. What are you afraid of?
Clowns.
How about? Okay, fire too?
Fire? Just clowns on fire.
Clowns on fire.
Yes, clowns on fire, yes.
What's America's number one fear? Clowns on fire. Tell me about the second time you got arrested.
Brother, I don't think that we can share that on here.
Okay.
But I've been arrested several times, allegedly.
Okay. Cat or dog?
Dogs.
Risk or gamble?
Both.
Okay. Give or take?
I like to give.
I love it. Favorite season?
Fall.
Mayo or Miracle Whip?
Oh, Miracle Whip every day. Unless it's a bologna sandwich, then it has to have mayo.
Crunchy or creamy?
Crunchy with apples.
I love it. Here's a question that's not on here, but I think about it all the time. Would you rather open up a brand new peanut butter and have the satisfaction of how smooth it is on top, or open up a brand new bag of coffee and take the first sniff?
Let me go with the peanut butter because I eat a lot of peanut butter.
Okay.
You're strange, Steve.
I know. Does your car have a nickname?
My box truck did, and that was Whitey.
Whitey.
It's a white truck.
Okay, yeah, I can relate.
I like Whitey Ford too.
Okay, I like it. Speaking of cars.
Yep. Oh, we're not talking about a Trans Am.
Oh, we got to. At some point we have to.
Story my Trans Am, yeah.
Okay. Texting or talking?
I'd much rather talk. I hate texting back. Millennial thing.
Love or money?
Love every day, baby.
I know the answer to this one. Apple or Android?
Oh, Apple.
Okay.
Yeah. You got a green text? I'm not texting you.
How many texts a day do you get?
46 and a half.
Wow. Do you prefer truth or dare?
I'm going to go dare all the time.
Okay, that's interesting. Favorite book you've ever read?
Be a Winner by Brian Cressy.
Excellent answer. You literally read the whole...
I literally read it. I got paid to read it, too.
Name a celebrity you've met.
Just met Lamar Odom at the, what do you call it? The gala that we showed the movie trailer at.
Well, that's cool.
But I wouldn't, not to name drop, but not Kerry Wood or Ryan Sandberg this year, or did not sing Baby's Got Back in Frank Thomas's living room for Christmas either.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no name dropping here. Allowed. Okay, last 4 questions.
All right.
How many bad decisions do you make a year?
Oh, my gosh, countless. That's why I hopefully get better at other things.
Last thing you purchased on Amazon?
The microphones we're talking into.
Oh, that's cool. All right, second to last. I would never do blank again.
This answer could probably get me in trouble. I would never. I don't know that I want to answer. I don't know that I want to.
No one's going to answer that.
No.
Right.
I don't. But maybe not. I think one guy we had to drink and drive. Yeah, I had a guy answer that, and that's a good. Yeah. How about I never buy another 6-foot Sasquatch again?
Okay.
Screw that. I'd buy like 10 of them, put in my yard. I've been divorced twice. I would get married again. So I don't think there's anything that I really would never do again. Yeah. I always say I'd try anything twice.
Yeah, right. Okay, last question. Have you ever left a 1-star review?
Absolutely.
Wow. Can you remember? Absolutely. No, without saying the name, what was it involving?
It was a restaurant, and they just had a really crappy service. Food is great. But here's the thing. On the review, I think I wrote that you don't have to be here. If you don't want to work here, and anybody listening, if you don't want to be doing what you're doing, just quit. Just leave. Find something you love to do. And the person was so bad that, not that I would get in a verbal confrontation with anybody, but it was hard.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So that's what they got left.
Okay, so I was going to wrap up this interview. All right, my closing 2 questions. Number 1.
Thank God.
Yeah, have you enjoyed your time? No, 3 questions. Have you enjoyed your time so far?
My time here with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been good. I realize all the stupid stuff I've done. We've just scratched the surface.
Yeah, no kidding. You were a fascinating man. Number 2 is, why did you start this podcast?
I had the urge to do something creative, and being in this town and seeing the people that are around the community here, I feel like there's so many people in this community that don't get acknowledged. Maybe the big companies get acknowledged, a lot with this and that. But there's a lot of people like you and I that maybe are started a business. This is their dream. When you drive down Center Street and you look at these things, and you drive down anywhere, you look at it, somebody put everything on the line to start that business. And they all have a story on how they got there. It may be a sad story. It may be a great story. Maybe they're just doing it for fun. But these people's livelihoods are, especially in our own town, that I really want people to support them. I love to hear the stories of the community. I've been through a lot in my life. We always say that. But there's some great moments in people's lives. So that's why I wanted to do something in the hometown. I want to make sure to bring everybody recognition. There's so many great people in this town. I sat down at Whitney, had breakfast by myself when I decided to do Discovering Grayslake, walked past the Sinkmars group, which I just had shot a video for her the day before, tossed her my idea, said I needed a sponsor. She took 4 seconds. She said, I'm in, and I hadn't told her the price yet. So then I tripled it, Jody. No. But no, great. And, nothing but support. Before we even put out our first episode, we had 3 sponsors. We had over 100 people following us on the FaceTube. But, all the different places that this is at, the community support that I've felt so far is wonderful. So hopefully it's doing what I wanted it to do, and hopefully we can continue to do it. But I want to give back, but also selfishly, I'm feeding my creativity, getting to know more people in where my kids are, where they grow up, about the schools, events, because we live in a pretty kick-ass place.
We do.
Yeah, and you and I talk about it every day about how fortunate we are. Everybody listening to this podcast, at some time you complain about money, you complain about maybe having a hard time or anything, but you have a roof over your head, you have a car, your kids go to good schools, you live in a community that supports everything. So I just want to encourage everybody to lean into your community. There's so many things to do. If you're bored, there's 1,000 programs to do, which hopefully we're going to identify them. If you're a senior, if you're a kid, if you're in daycare, if you want to go swimming, if you want a sledding hill, like you want to go ice skating, there's tons of things. You don't even have to leave our town. And that's it. Hopefully we leave the impression, and not my legacy, but hopefully people listen to these 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and can look back and see maybe how things have changed, and hopefully bring our community as a tighter knit group.
Absolutely. All right. Who do you want to interview next?
Oh my God. I'm not sure when I'm going to air this episode, but
who came to mind when you were first thinking of it?
When I first started thinking about it, I want to find someone, and maybe you guys can help me out that are listening and write this for this episode. I want to find a couple unsung heroes in Grayslake. I want to find someone or an organization maybe that we don't know about that's giving back to the community, to the poor, to feed people, or helping the children out. whether that's in any way like that. I want to find somebody, and if you know somebody that's doing something great for this community, and let's shed some light on them. Let's celebrate their successes, and maybe they'll inspire other people to do more and to give more and to be more.
And he likes that.
And he likes that.
The winner.
So, like a tagline, somebody just to help our community give back by shedding light on people that are doing something awesome.
Yes.
Fair enough?
Yes, fair enough.
This was kind of fun being on the other side of this, by the way.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, this will not be the last time you and I get together to talk about stuff.
I talk too much.
No, you don't talk enough. You got a lot to share. Well, David, it's been excellent.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody for listening to Discovering Grayslake with the most boring guest on the planet. And make sure to subscribe on that whatever podcast channel you're listening on, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Facebook, whatever. Hit the little bell button too, especially if you're on Spotify or Apple. So that way, every Tuesday, hopefully, when a new episode comes out, your phone's going to light up. You're going to be revealed with who the next guest is going to be. So, hey. Thanks for your time. Steve, you did a great job, by the way, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
All right. See y'all later.